Hello everyone, welcome to the CAW Athletics Wire. My name is Harley, and today I would like to take some time to reflect with you about one important aspect of the running season that's ahead, which is winter. Sometimes it can be very challenging to go outside when it's cold. Motivation can be a problem. I know sometimes it feels that it's not enjoyable to be out there. However, we all know as big running fans that there are enormous benefits to running in almost every situation, and as long as you do it safely, there are really no good reasons not to do it. Running in the winter is really not all that bad. It depends where you live. It depends what the specific conditions in the day are. Something I have been more conscious about in recent years is trying to run during the warmest parts of the day. And there's a lot of reasons to do that. It gives us a little more motivation to go outside. It seems like a beautiful day that we want to enjoy. Always capitalize on extra motivation. Why not? During the day also, provided that your waking hours are between sunrise and sunset, your body's stress response is going to be higher. Let's say you wake up at sunrise or maybe a little afterwards. Then the production of these stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine, are going to peak right after that, and they're going to slowly go down over the day. And while this is happening, your heart rate is higher, your body temperature is higher, and all of these are desirable things when you're trying to do physical activity. When your muscles are warmer, you also have less chance of injury. So there's a case to be made that you're probably better off trying to squeeze your run in this time frame, which is not to say that you cannot do it after sunset, but then these hormones are not produced so much anymore. Instead, the body starts ordering some more melatonin, and what this does is basically wind everything down so you can put yourself to rest. There are also the psychological benefits of running. If you get them in the earlier part of the day, they sort of translate to the rest of the day. You get to keep some of that relaxation and that feeling of well-being that you get when you can spend some time outside, maybe in nature if you have access to that. To me, I find very important to pay attention to that feeling of accomplishment that you get when you finish your run. It might be hard to even go out in the first place, but when you finish it, you can definitely tell yourself that you have finished something, and that something is usually a good thing. So why not keep that experience with us to inform how our mood and our projection to our life is going to be for the rest of the day. You already accomplished something, you should be proud about that. It might not be possible for you to run during the day. Some people are just not morning people. I personally try to squeeze my run during lunchtime. I am not a morning person. I wake up early, but I find myself consistently just making a cup of coffee. Getting ready to go to work, and everything else has a lower priority at that point. Anyway, if you find yourself in this category of night runner, or maybe very early morning, later in the day kind of runner, you're going to be running in the dark and it's probably colder. So in my experience, there are two things that have helped a lot. One of them is the notion of overdressing a little bit. It's important to layer up, and as a rule of thumb, cover as much skin as you can. I was gonna say your entire skin, but you never be afraid to overdress a little bit. It's good to have one extra jacket that is malleable enough that you can maybe tie your waist. If you're wearing a hat, it's good to have one that is somewhat collapsible. You can just like make it a little ball, put it in your pocket. Nothing wrong with that. There's always adjustments that you can do, but don't be afraid to take out a little more than you may feel like you need, because it pays off to just be comfortable. I do not tend to bring a lot in my runs. I usually don't overdress either. It's just because I am lazy and I don't like the inconvenience of having things tied to my body. They kind of dangle around. I usually run with my dog too. Sometimes that becomes like a few too many things to put my mind into when I'm trying to zone out and just run. So for the sake of being compact and mobile, I don't bring a lot of extra things, but I do become a lot more careful, and that's something that I also want to talk about. When you're running in the dark, you should be visible. Bring a light, get reflective gear. That's going to help you a lot. It's usually cheap, and it doesn't have to be running specific gear. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. Just put something on that shines a lot. I do not have specific reflective gear, but the running gear that I do have has reflective accents to it for the most part. And I'm also very careful when I run at night. I live on a somewhat busy road that is also not very wide. So sometimes, just to be extra careful, I just go off the road when a car is coming. I know it's not really fun to be cutting your run over and over again, but it does make it a lot safer, and I will take that anytime. If you're the kind of person that no amount of gear will make you comfortable because still your face is out there, in my experience, the extreme discomfort that you get when you go into sometimes even a blizzard kind of goes away by minute 5. That's not an exaggeration. 5 or 10 minutes, you're probably going to feel warmer than you once. You sweat. It's like carrying your own sauna around, producing all this heat from the inside. But anyway, if the idea of spending 5 or 10 minutes in somewhat of a miserable position is not really enticing to you, I would really encourage you to use this as some form of training to manage discomfort, which will be very productive for you. This is a skill that you can bring to a lot of other aspects of your life, since there are always going to be somewhat distressful things happening to you. If you have a daily reminder of how to deal with those things and usually go through it and come stronger through the other side, that's a really big plus. Just think about it that way. It's only 5 or 10 minutes, and when it's over, you're just gonna feel great. If you're a competitive amateur, think about the competitive edge that you're going to possibly have if you have been trained to run in less than optimal conditions. Calm race day, if it's a nice day, you're just gonna feel great, and it's gonna feel like a breeze to you. And if it's really bad, you're gonna know that you have been in that position before and you finished every single one of those runs, and now you're in the starting line. Maybe the person next to you has a PR that is lower than yours, but they are looking very cold and stiff, and you're just really ready to crush this one. Think also about that starting to train early in the year is going to provide for you more time to tune yourself up for that race you really want to get good results in. To me, a really productive way to see the winter is to not to put a lot of pressure on it. We do have to keep in mind that sometimes it's not safe or even optimal to be out there for many hours or doing hard workouts when the surfaces are probably not helping you. So think about the winter as a time to start waking your body up and conditioning for some harder training down the year. It is possible though to fit a whole training cycle in those first weeks of winter and probably try to attack a race in the earlier part of the year, so you already maybe even have a qualifying time and you're just going to get sharper after that. And you have more opportunities to rest during the year. You can think about taking some time off in the spring, training to the summer, and then having another peak in the fall, which is when a lot of the big races happen. So don't put too much pressure on how fast you can get. Just make sure that you get out there. If you are not competitive at all, you could care less about races, there is something in this for you as well. I would be willing to bet that if you run through a winter, that will probably be the least cold winter that you've ever been through. You get to have real perspective about what a really cold day is and what is not. Most of the time, it's really not that cold and it's very possible to go out. If you get to that really cold day where it seems like really challenging and maybe even not that safe because there are plows on the road and the footing is weird, just don't go out, stay inside, and that's probably okay too. I'd like to say goodbye today with a big shout out to CAW Athletics, the great running club. I consider myself extremely lucky to be part of this community that is so uplifting and thoughtful. This blog has become a great resource for running nerds and just running lovers in general. I hope you get out there. 2021 is probably as good a year as any to start running all the time. Makes you super fit. Go for it.